Now, I've talked a lot about alternative energy and getting yourself set up with a system that can power things during emergencies or power loss. Today, we're going to take a look at the heart of one of those said systems. This is the PowMr Mppt 60 amp solar charge controller. Alright everybody, welcome back. So, today we're taking a look at the PowMr Mppt 60 amp solar charge controller. It does seem kind of like a large charge controller for maybe someone who's just getting into solar. But I like to build things very scalable so that they can go up or down as I need them. Now, as you'll see today, I'm just using a small, I think it's a 25 watt panel outside to test this. And, just a single battery. But the cool part about this is this could take up to two 400 watt panels and a bank of batteries. So that's why it's good to start with something like this that can build up or down as you go. That's why I tell people when you buy an inverter for your system, buy it as big as you possibly can afford, because you're going to want it bigger anyway, and eventually you're going to be adding more batteries. Just because you have a 3,000 watt inverter doesn't mean you need to draw 3,000 watts off that one little battery you have. But later on, when you put more batteries in there and the bank gets bigger, then you'll be able to use it to its full capacity. So it's kind of a buy once, cry once type thing. However, this really isn't all that expensive. And this did come from my order from Banggood. I've been showing you some of the stuff I got from them recently. And I did find out later that they have a huge sale going on. So we're going to give you more info on that sale towards the end of the video. But they do have their summer prime, I guess you could call it, sale. And that's good till the 10th of July. So make sure you check it out. When you click the link to check this out, there's a ton of other links underneath that you can see. And you'll see how much you can save on a lot of different stuff on there. Anyway, let's move on to this. Now, why do they call it an Mppt charge controller? All right, well, that stands for Maximum Power Point Tracking Technology. In other words, it's a lot more efficient than those cheapy little charge controllers you see, the PWN ones, on Amazon for like 15, 14 bucks. Now, first off, I need to explain to you what a charge controller really is. What this does is this sits between your solar panels on your roof and your batteries down here, and as you can see, I got cables connected for the battery. And what it will do is it will be an intermediary. It prevents the batteries from overcharging, discharging, and in the case of this charge controller with an Mppt, it will also maintain the batteries and check them out, see the voltage in them, and charge them accordingly. So an Mppt controller has very high efficiency, between 94 and 98%. And this one's compatible with a whole range of batteries. So whatever you really want to do, you can do it. It's also compatible and will recognize automatically a bunch of different voltages. So if you have a 12 volt, 24, 36, or 48 volt system, okay, and that's something maybe you solar newbies are like, what is he talking about? A car battery's 12 volts. That's later on, for you to look into. It will recognize that. Another bonus. You've bought a product that if you decide to go with a different voltage system, will still work. And I might add too, this thing's pretty durable. Not only has it had protection for hooking up your panels the wrong way, but also your batteries. I'm not going to say who accidentally hooked the battery up wrong when I was testing it, but let's just say it's absolutely fine and it didn't do any damage to it. So this is a high frequency DC to DC converter. It optimizes the match between your panels and your battery bank, like we've said. It's got an automatic built-in DSP controller. It's got automatic voltage detection. We already talked about that, whether you're running 12 volt or 48 or 34 or 36 or 24. It's got 3 stages of charging. Now let me get into those 3 stages really quick. You've got constant current. In other words, it's pumping the battery full of energy. You've got constant voltage. It's constantly pumping in voltage. And you have what's called a floating charge. The floating charge is where you want your battery to kind of sit. And if it drops below that, this thing lets the energy in. And if it gets above that, this thing stops charging. And that's what this does. Essentially, it keeps your batteries from getting fried. Along with all the other fancy stuff, that's its main job, to keep your batteries from getting overcharged. Now, this does have an interesting little output, and the output is for a 12 volt lamp only. If you have your solar in a shack or a shed somewhere where there's no light, you're going to want light in there. The last 2 hookups on the end here are output for a plus and minus, and you can hook up a little 12 volt light or battery, and that will just run directly off the solar without even affecting any of this stuff. So you'll have that in there when you need it. If you want to go in the daytime to check out your stuff, or at night to check out your stuff, you can do that, and you'll always have that on there. So What we're going to do with this today is do a quick little demo. Now, I'm not hooking this up to a very healthy battery nor a very large panel. The battery I'm going to be using today is one I'm actually going to be returning to Walmart for the core fee. It's pretty low. But it will work for our purposes here to show you the charge and how it works. The first thing I'm going to do is hook up the battery so we can do the menus. Now, this has an interesting little feature to it. When you're trying to set this up, you're going to notice if you go into the programming and you go into the menus and you save a value, it won't save because you've got your panels and your battery hooked up. So it's best to program this with just the battery hooked up. Once you have all your settings done, then you can hook up your panels. Now, if you've already hooked it all together, and let's say you're switching from a different system, or let's say maybe you want the float charge to be a little higher, maybe you had it at 13.4, you want it to be at 13.8, you're going to have to unhook your solar panels, program it, and then hook your solar panels back up. I guess that's to prevent any kind of internal damage to the circuitry. So, let me connect it to the battery, and I'm going to show you the menus. There are only a few of them, so it's really not that difficult. And then we'll hook it up to the solar panel, and I'll show you what it looks like actually working. Alright, so as you can see here, this is the battery, and as you can see, it's 12.5 volts. It's not horrible, but I also was charging it a little bit. But it's definitely not as good as the other new batteries I have, so I did rotate it out of my old battery bank. Anyway, you see that we have a battery connected. We have an output to the 12-volt connector down there. Okay, and you have your program and your enter and memory. So let's hit program, and this is your D00 menu. This is how long you want this to actually function. Okay, in my case, I want it to be working 24 hours. I don't want to have to come back in the winter and be like, oh, the sun's down earlier, I have to change this to 8 hours or something. I'm just going to let it run 24 hours a day. I'm not worried about it draining my batteries or anything like that. But that's what that D00 does. You'll see the 24 there. And if I wanted to change that, I could change it with programming it down here. Okay, so let's move through to the next menu. Alright, the next menu is D1, D01. That is your float charge, your 13.8. For a lead acid battery, that's pretty good. If you have different types of batteries, you can move it up or down. Always make sure you check with your battery manufacturer's suggestions, but I know for a lead acid battery, 13.8 is good. And I'm going to zoom you in a little bit so you can actually see it. There. That's a little bit better. So you see the D01 and the 13.8. Let's move to the next menu. I keep hitting the wrong button. Alright, your D02 menu. This is your highest absorption voltage for the battery. Now with a lead acid, you could probably take this up to 14.4. I'm being a little conservative with this. I could change it if I want. I may take it to 14. I hit enter, and there. Now because I don't have panels connected down there on the bottom, it will be accepted. Let's move to the next menu. This is your D3. This is your protection, your battery protection, discharge. This is when this will shut off when the battery is low and go to absorption charge mode. And I put it at 10 volts. You can do it higher or lower. Again, for a lead acid battery, that's pretty good. We'll just leave that alone as it is. So those are your menus. There's just 3 menus on there. Very simple to set up. Okay, you really aren't going to have to do much work with it. It's very, very easy to take care of. And you can get out of program mode by pushing that. And there you go. Now, we're going to connect panels to it. The panel I have connected to it is just a 25-watt panel that I use to trickle charge my ham radio stuff over on the corner there. So I'm going to screw in the panel terminals on the bottom of this. Let me zoom you out again. Down here on the bottom, your plus or minus. Okay? And we'll let you see what it looks like, because right now you just have a little smiley face there. You don't have the panel showing it pushing into the battery. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's connected. Now you will notice that there are 2 negatives and 2 positives. Okay, you're going to have to unscrew one of these, lift it up, and stick your negative wire in there, and you'll have to screw it up a long way there. And again, these aren't the right size wires for any kind of long-term installation. This is really just a demo. I would be using much thicker wire if I was putting this in permanently. This is just some extra wire I had so I could demo this, and I will be putting this into my system as well. I will be hooking this up into my my smaller solar system to use, but I wanted to demo it for you today using this. So let's move on to the positive one, and let me move this around my camera. Don't mind the wire. There we go. Move to the positive terminal. Now this does have the protection, okay? If by some chance you accidentally connect your positive to your negative and your negative to your positive, it will stay protected. And like I said, my own stupidity, I connected the positive to the negative on the battery and the negative to the positive, And the battery didn't like it, but this thing stayed fine. You don't want to do that long term, of course, but it was just a simple mistake. My own fault for not paying attention. Alright, we're putting that in there. I don't know if you can see the sun there yet. Here we go. Let me show you that really quick. Let's do that there. There we go. And you can see the sun charging the battery. We're getting about 12.4 volts on it now, and the output is going down to the 12 volt thing there. Okay, there's your output of what you're getting. Let's get through there, get out of the fault mode. There's no faults, that's why that said that. So, you're getting 15, 14, 16, you know, that's what you're getting on that panel. Again, it's not a huge panel, it's about a 25 watt panel out there. And it's not in the direct sun. The sun's coming up this way and the panel's facing that way. So, you can see what you're getting as far as wattage in and out. Okay? And that's pretty much it. Now, if I wanted to change my settings again, I would have to unhook my solar panels, change them, and hit enter, and move from there. So there's a quick look at the display. And we're going to let this sit for a little bit. I'm going to put it back on the voltage because I want to see if it can take this from 12.4 or 12.5 up a little bit higher, and see in a few minutes how it does. I know the battery's kind of junk. The battery I'm using is kind of toasted, but we'll see if it can actually do some work on it. One of the things I did want to show you are some of the information it will give you when you push these up or down buttons here. You'll notice it's in 3 and then 4. It switches back from 3 to 4. What it's doing there is going from Mppt mode into working mode. Okay, so it'll switch back and forth from working mode into Mppt mode. Now, if it was in the 7 there, if it's at 7.0, that's absorption mode. In other words, that's charging it from totally dead. And 8.0 will be floating mode. You also have your temperature over here in Celsius. So that's the menu there, and you can see it switching back and forth. Again, that panel is not in direct sunlight. It's kind of angled. What I like about it is it charges the batteries. I have it facing kind of this way, you know, west. And as the sun sets, it kind of comes down on it. The sun's this way now, over this way. I'm sorry, I'm really zoomed in here. So the panel isn't facing the right way to get a maximum benefit. But again, this only trickle charges my my gel cells that are in my backup radio stuff, so it's ready to go if I take it. So it's really not a life or death emergency. But you can see how well this little unit works. I'm still at 12.5. Again, I'm not getting a ton of solar, but I am getting some amps in and out. 12.4, 12.5. And I suspect when we started it was 12.3, so I suspect that's the battery. It's not really a very healthy battery right now. But you can see how when the panels are connected, there's your sun to your charge into the battery, and the battery's moving up and down. And then you also have the output directly to those things on the bottom if you want to charge another, if you want to run another 12 volt device off of that. They tell you basically to keep it at only something like, say, a 12 volt light. Anyway, wrap it up, give you some information on how much it is and where to get it, and talk to you in a minute once this is finished up. Alright, so we got it back unhooked here, ready to put on the wall. I'm not going to put it on the wall in the video because I can't do it today. I got to do it tomorrow. And I want to get the video out to you guys. So, these are mounting brackets it comes with. Okay, and if you notice on the side of the charge control, there are areas to do that. So you can mount this on a board of wood or whatever. In this case, it might be cheaper to mount it on a board of diamonds, the way wood is these days. But you can mount it on a board of wood there, or you can mount it into your wall, into studs, and you'll have yourself a way to mount it onto something. So definitely easy to set up there. You're going to get your manual here, and this manual is very, very helpful. Make sure you browse through it. This isn't the same as your PWM charge controllers that you can really just plug in and use. You actually have to understand what you're doing. Like I said, I showed you the programming very, very quickly. It was a quick overview. There is a lot more detailed information on here, as well as the issues with the fault codes to tell you. Here's your codes here. You got code 18, which is input voltage is low. 60 is over temperature. 63 is battery too high. So I mean, there's tons of information in here, and this will really, really help you out when you're learning about how to use this particular unit. The unit itself, like I said, this was one of the things I bought from Banggood because I wanted to upgrade the PWM charge control that's over there now on my smaller system. And yeah, I have two systems over there. I don't know why. One's the bigger system with 4 batteries, and one's the smaller one with 2 larger deep cycle batteries. So anyway, I wanted to upgrade that one to an Mppt because eventually I want to do a little more with that one and also put a bigger solar panel out there. Right now I have 2 50-watters. I want to upgrade that to like a 250-watt panel, single panel. So I'm not just doing 2 50-watt panels, but 250 into it. And, you know, kind of upgrade that system as well. You don't need 2 solar backup power systems. You could build one very simply. I just did it because I had extra parts and started building it and started working on it, and then it grew into a whole nother system. Anyway, that is how that works. It's very, very simple to use, but you do need to make sure you know what you're doing. It's not like, you know, like I said, like the PWNs that you buy on Amazon for 15 bucks. You plug your panel in, you plug your battery in, you hit it, and you walk away. This takes a little bit of understanding. Not much, though. You know, it's not difficult. You saw how easy it was to set those parameters down there. So these run for $119.77. And don't forget, till next month on the 10th, they're having their Prime sale. I'm going to have all the links down below, as well as a direct link to this. But I'm going to have all the links down below for all the different Banggood summer sale events that they're having. They're calling it a summer sale or a Prime sale. I don't know. Just check them out because I think you'll probably get some good deals, and I want you guys to save some money. This is an interesting little system, and I have to say I'm pleased with it so far. Now, we are going to test it long term. I am going to mount it on the wall, and I'm going to let you see how it runs on that system. I will keep the older PWM charge control just in case it fails. I don't think it will, but just in case. I don't throw out my old stuff when it's perfectly good. I always keep one backup of something. Like when I bought the new inverter on the other system, I keep the old one. Now, I'm not going to keep 4 or 5 of them, but I keep one working one behind it just in case. And so far, that inverter's been awesome. It hasn't given me a bit of trouble. Anyway, that's the price. The link will be down below, 120 bucks basically. The link will be down below to pick it up. Now, if you've priced the Mppt controllers in the past, you know how expensive they can be. So that is a really good deal. And I do like the display. Gives you a little bit of heads up of what's going on with your batteries. Like I could see the battery voltage, and I knew that battery was kind of dead and crummy. So, you know, I like that. I like being able to have more information. That's one of the reasons I like the other inverter I got, because it gave me more information. It told me what was going on. So, that's the thing. That's the video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check all the links down below. And don't forget to check out our My Patriot supply link. That's preparewithiridium.com. Okay, because we got a nice little sneak preview last March of how quickly things can spiral out of control with no food in the stores. Now, we do have a deal on the 3-month emergency food supply. You're going to save $300 on that. 2,000 calories a day, 21 varieties, 25-year shelf life. The whole thing comes in thick, rugged, water-resistant buckets. It's 120 pounds of food to put away. So you will be saving some money on that, definitely. You're going to save 300 bucks. So check them out, as well as our Amazon affiliate store and our freeze-dried wholesaler link down there. You save 15% just by clicking my link. You don't have to do anything. Click the link, shop as you normally would, and you save it. And don't forget to check out our Thrive Life link as well. I got my Thrivers out there. I see you guys making your orders. Make sure you get them in. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.